Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope that you have been enjoying the videos that I've been posting up on there, the content and ideas. If you have been and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We would appreciate that support. Other than that, like, share, enjoy, let us know, give us some feedback. We'll help you out to the best of our abilities. Today we're going to be covering rigs, holsters, those kinds of things set up more specifically for IPSC. And where I'd like to begin is the rules. There's a couple of guys. Well, there's guys who don't necessarily know all the rules when it comes to setting up their holsters. They think it's right, but it's not really. And there's a couple of guys who will be pushing the boundaries. And those two rules are going to be where in your production, classic, production optics, standard divisions, all of your allied equipment needs to be behind your hip bones. Now keep in mind, if I were to turn side on, you can see my gun is quite clearly behind my hip bone. So I'll never have issues with that. And if I look on the magazine pouch side, I've got a magnet with 4 pouches. And keep in mind that a magnet is considered allied equipment. So if you were to place a magazine on the magnet, the most forward part of the magazine, while it's on the magnet, needs to be behind your hip bone as well. So remember, keep that in mind. Don't set up the magnet so that it's right on your hip bone, because then when you put a magazine on it, you're not complying with the rules. The other one is, your allied equipment in all of the IPSC divisions may not be more than 50 millimeters away from your torso or your body. Keep that in mind. Make sure that you're meeting those rules. Obviously, you don't want to end up having a frustrating and painful day filled with heartache on a range because of something like that. Keep them in mind, set them up properly. If it is set up correctly and it does meet the requirements of the rules, then you can enjoy the sport for what it is, and it's not really going to make a difference if you can't have your gun just in line with your hip or just in front of your hip. It makes very little difference from there. The other thing that I want to cover is many guys don't pay the respects or considerations that they need to when setting up a rig. You know, it's just something that holds the gun, it's something that holds the magazine pouches, without ever delving into it and actually thinking about it, that your rig can be part of enhancing your performance. A poorly set up rig can hold you back in so many ways that you might not understand yet. So make sure that you're setting that up correctly. You know, if you're running really as fast as you can and your magazines are coming out your pouches, work out why, rectify it, and just work through it that way. Same with your holster. I see many guys who want to have holsters set up with as little resistance as possible. In other words, the gun just glides out the holster without any resistance, without any retention. And I'm on the opposite side of that spectrum. I want to have a little bit more retention, a little bit more resistance when I'm drawing it out of the holster, because then I can actually feel where the gun is, and it actually gives me a slightly longer dwell time to start developing my grip out of the holster. So keep that in mind as well, fiddle with it and set it up correctly. So you can see I'm running essentially a full CR speed rig. I'm running the high torque competition belt, I'm running the WSM2 holster for my Glock, and I'm running their Versa pouches, all forward facing. I haven't had a chance to look at the outward facing mag pouches yet. So you can see I've got an unloaded gun, nothing in the mag well, I have an empty chamber. Now you can see that if I were to draw the gun very slowly, that the holster actually lifts for a little while before it just lets go of the gun. And that's what I want out of my holsters for competition. I want that little bit of resistance so that when I am drawing fast, I've got that little bit of resistance from the holster so that I can actually develop that right hand grip onto the gun before the guns come out the holster. You know, as you start progressing the speed in your draw, getting your hand onto the gun and starting to develop that grip before the gun comes out of the holster can be quite important. Otherwise you end up having the sort of dwell that we see regularly, where guys will come up, they'll come down, push the gun down, and then lift it out so that they could develop that grip. Now with a little bit more retention, you can do that without having to push downward. In other words, go in the opposite direction to where you want to go. You can continue going straight out of the holster while you're doing the same thing. You're achieving exactly the same thing. Now from there, what we see, we're going to cover the rig in a little bit more of a technical aspect soon, where we can show you a little bit more about how I set it up, the tweaks, ideas, adjustments, and the thought that goes into setting up a rig for myself. But those are a couple of things that I consider important with your rig. Keep in mind it is a vital part of your equipment. It's a vital part of your performance. Take the time to set it up carefully, take the time to understand it, take the time to learn it, and ultimately your rig and everything associated with that needs to complement your gun. It needs to work, it needs to be reliable, and at the end of the day it needs to be durable. So make sure that what you're working with is durable, it's not binding, it's smooth, and test it from a variety of different start positions. Test it from weird start positions, kneeling, maybe in a crouch position. Continue to test those things, make sure it's set up perfectly and that you're not ever having any sort of binding or the gun may be falling out. And then just look at the mechanics of it and make sure that it's functioning correctly and that it's safe, number one. So that should cover just about everything as an introduction into your competition rig. If you do have any questions about it, we'll cover it in the next video for you. Please give me a shout, let me know. We'll sort that out for you. Until then, stay safe and we should see you on the range soon. Thanks everyone.